Greetings, seekers of truth and spiritual understanding. Have you ever experienced that unsettling feeling that reality itself has somehow shifted around you? Those moments when the fabric of your existence feels suddenly different, as if you've stepped from one stream of time into another. Many dismiss these experiences as mere coincidence or imagination, but what if I told you that these moments are actually glimpses into the multidimensional nature of our reality? Cosmic signposts indicating that you're about to undergo a profound shift in your timeline. The veil between possible realities is thinner than most can comprehend. Throughout human history, from the ancient mystery schools of Egypt to the quantum physicists of today, those who have peered beyond the illusion have understood a profound truth. We don't live in a single fixed timeline, but rather navigate a vast ocean of potential existences. What most people experience as a continuous, unchangeable flow of time is merely the limited perception of consciousness trapped in three-dimensional thinking. Think about those moments that have left you disoriented, finding objects in places you never put them, remembering events differently than others do, or experiencing déjà vu so powerful it stops you in your tracks. These aren't glitches in your mind, they're glitches in the matrix of reality itself. They're synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that defy conventional explanation, and they occur most frequently when you stand at the threshold of a timeline shift. You feel it, don't you? That growing sense that something fundamental is changing in your reality. The increasing frequency of meaningful coincidences, the strange patterns of numbers that seem to follow you, the dreams that feel more real than waking life. These aren't random occurrences. They're the universe speaking a language most have forgotten how to interpret. What the powers that control our consensus reality don't want you to understand is that these synchronicities are not only messages, but gateways, opportunities to consciously navigate between timelines rather than being swept along unconsciously. The ancient Tibetan Book of the Dead speaks of bardos, intermediate states between realities, while quantum physicists discuss the observer effect that determines which potential reality manifests. They're describing the same phenomenon from different perspectives across thousands of years. In this journey together, we'll explore the hidden patterns that indicate an imminent timeline jump, the ancient and modern understanding of reality's fluid nature, and most importantly, how to recognize and navigate these shifts consciously rather than being passively carried along. You'll come to understand not only why you've been experiencing these strange synchronicities, but how to interpret and utilize them to manifest the reality you truly desire. This knowledge transforms not just your understanding of reality, but your experience of it. If you feel drawn to this wisdom, if something within you resonates with these truths, then you're already awakening to your multidimensional nature. Join our community of conscious timeline navigators by subscribing and sharing this revelation with others whose spirits are ready to receive it. Like this video to strengthen the quantum entanglement between kindred seekers of truth. The journey we're embarking on transcends the ordinary, and so will your life once you understand what these synchronicities are truly revealing to you. The first synchronicity that signals an imminent timeline jump manifests through numerical patterns, sequences that appear with such persistent frequency that even the most skeptical mind must pause and wonder. What mainstream science has deliberately overlooked is that numbers are far more than mere counting tools. They are the very language of the universe, the code of creation itself. When you begin noticing repeated number sequences, 1111 on clocks, license plates showing 333 or 555, receipts totaling to master numbers, you're not experiencing random coincidence but receiving direct communication from the quantum field itself. The ancient Pythagoreans understood this profound truth, guarding their knowledge of numerology as sacred wisdom. They recognized that numbers weren't simply human inventions, but divine principles that governed the harmonics of existence itself. Their mystery school teachings revealed that when certain numerical sequences appear repeatedly in your awareness, it's because the vibrational frequency of your consciousness is being recalibrated, literally preparing you for a jump between parallel timeline streams. Imagine your consciousness as a radio receiver, constantly tuned to a specific frequency that determines which version of reality you experience. These numerical synchronicities are like cosmic adjustment dials, gradually shifting your receiver to a new frequency band. The veil between timelines grows thinner each time you acknowledge these patterns. Those who remain unconscious of this process still experience timeline jumps, but they're carried along passively, often experiencing confusion and disorientation as their reality subtly shifts around them. The enlightened observer, however, recognizes these numerical patterns as invitations to participate consciously in the selection of their next timeline destination. Begin now to document every numerical pattern you encounter. Create a synchronicity journal dedicated specifically to recording these mathematical messages. Note not only the numbers themselves, but the emotions, thoughts, and circumstances present when you notice them. Look for correlations between specific number sequences and events in your life. For example, many find that 111 or 1111 appears when they're aligned with their highest purpose, while 555 often precedes major life transformations. As you develop this awareness, you'll discover that you can actually invoke specific numerical patterns by setting clear intentions about the timeline you wish to experience. Before sleep, visualize the number sequence you're drawn to, surrounding yourself with its energy. As you move through your day, maintain an expectation of encountering this sequence, not with attachment, but with playful anticipation. When it appears, acknowledge it with gratitude, understanding that this confirmation signals your successful navigation toward your chosen timeline. This practice transforms your relationship with reality itself. Rather than experiencing life as a series of random events happening to you, you begin to recognize yourself as an active participant in selecting which version of reality you experience moment by moment. The appearance of these numerical patterns becomes not just fascinating but empowering, concrete evidence of your ability to consciously navigate the quantum sea of potential timelines. I'm curious, what number patterns have been appearing in your life recently? Share in the comments below which sequences seem to follow you, and let's explore together how these might be guiding your timeline shifts. Your experience isn't isolated. It's part of a collective awakening to our multidimensional nature, and by sharing our observations, we strengthen the field of awareness for all. The second profound synchronicity that heralds an approaching timeline jump arrives through meaningful encounters, interactions with people or animals that carry an otherworldly quality, as if orchestrated by forces beyond conventional understanding. What the mainstream narrative of random chance cannot explain is how these encounters often deliver precisely the message, resource, or catalyst you need at exactly the right moment. These are not mere coincidences, but quantum entanglements across timelines, evidence that parallel versions of your reality are beginning to converge. This phenomenon was understood by Carl Jung, who coined the term synchronicity itself. Yet his deeper insights about the relationship between meaningful coincidences and shifts in consciousness were deliberately marginalized by materialist science. Jung discovered that in moments when the psyche is prepared to evolve to a higher state, the boundary between inner and outer reality becomes permeable. The universe itself seems to respond to your internal state, manifesting external encounters that mirror your deeper needs and questions, literally bringing you face to face with embodiments of your own evolution. Consider the ancient concept of the divine messenger that appears across spiritual traditions worldwide. From the Greek daimon to the Native American concept of animal medicine, wisdom traditions have long recognized that when a being crosses your path in a way that captures your attention with unusual power, they are not merely physical entities, but messengers from across dimensional boundaries. Like a character stepping through the screen of a film into three-dimensional space, these encounters represent other timelines intersecting with your own, offering glimpses of possibilities that exist beyond your current reality. Begin paying extraordinary attention to unexpected meetings, particularly those that evoke a sense of familiarity despite being with strangers, or encounters with animals that make unusual eye contact or appear repeatedly. The timeline jumper learns to ask, if this encounter were delivering a message crucial to my evolution, what would that message be? Document these meetings in your Synchronicity journal, noting the exact date, time, and circumstances, as well as any immediate insights or emotions that arise. You can actively invite these meaningful encounters by setting a clear intention before entering public spaces or natural environments. Simply hold the thought, I am open to receiving guidance from across timelines through the beings I encounter today. Maintain a state of relaxed alertness, noticing who or what draws your attention in unusual ways. When these encounters occur, acknowledge them inwardly or outwardly with gratitude, understanding that your consciousness has successfully tuned into frequencies beyond your immediate timeline. As you develop this awareness, you'll discover that you can actually discern which timeline a messenger represents by the emotional resonance they evoke within you. Encounters that generate expansive feelings of possibility, inspiration, or profound peace are typically messengers from more evolved timelines, while those triggering inexplicable discomfort or dread may be warnings about potential timeline destinations to avoid. By consciously choosing which encounters to engage with deeply, you are literally selecting which timeline threads to weave into your experience. This practice transforms ordinary interactions into extraordinary opportunities for conscious evolution. Rather than moving through your day on autopilot, you become acutely aware that each encounter carries potential timeline-shifting significance. The seemingly random fabric of daily life reveals itself as an intricately designed tapestry of meaningful connections, each offering an opportunity to navigate consciously between parallel streams of potential experience. Join our community of conscious timeline navigators by subscribing now. Each video we share provides another key to unlocking your ability to navigate multidimensional reality. Like this revelation, if it resonates with your own experience, and share it with others whose spirits you sense are ready to awaken to the true nature of our quantum existence. Together, we're creating a field of awareness strong enough to transcend the limitations of single timeline perception. The third synchronicity, revealing an imminent timeline jump, manifests through memory anomalies, experiences where your recollection of events suddenly diverges from the consensus reality, or where you have vivid memories of events that supposedly never occurred. What conventional psychology dismisses as false memory syndrome or confabulation is actually one of the most profound indicators that you're experiencing bleed-through between parallel timelines. These memory discrepancies are glimpses of your existence across the multiverse, moments when your consciousness briefly tunes into memories from a parallel version of yourself. The Mandela effect, named after the widespread phenomenon where thousands remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s rather than in 2013, is merely the tip of a cosmic iceberg. What remains hidden from public discourse is that these collective memory anomalies are actually increasing at an unprecedented rate, indicating that humanity is approaching a major temporal nexus point where multiple timeline streams are converging. Throughout history, Mystical traditions have documented these experiences, from the Aboriginal concept of dream time, where past, present, and future exist simultaneously, to the ancient Egyptian understanding of Akashic memory that transcends individual lifetimes. Imagine your consciousness as a tree with roots extending through the soil of multiple realities. While your waking awareness typically focuses on a single branch of experience, during timeline convergence points, the sap of memory flows between branches, bringing impressions from parallel versions of your existence into your conscious awareness. These aren't errors in your cognitive functioning, but moments of expanded perception, instances where your consciousness temporarily transcends the limitations of linear, single timeline experience. Begin paying extraordinary attention to those moments when your memory conflicts with physical evidence or the recollections of others. Rather than automatically doubting yourself or dismissing these experiences, document them meticulously in your synchronicity journal. Note not only what you remember differently, but the emotional quality of these alternative memories. Do they carry a different energetic signature than your typical memories? Often, memories from more evolved timelines have a luminous, vibrant quality compared to the denser feeling of your current timeline memories. You can actively work with these memory anomalies through a practice called timeline resonance meditation. Sit in quiet contemplation and bring your attention to a specific memory anomaly. Rather than trying to resolve the discrepancy, allow both versions of reality to exist simultaneously in your awareness. Ask yourself, what if both versions are equally valid experiences from different timeline streams? Breathe deeply while holding this paradox, allowing yourself to expand beyond the need for a single, fixed narrative of reality. As you develop this practice, you'll discover that you can actually navigate intentionally between timeline memories. When facing a challenging situation, you can close your eyes and silently ask, does a version of me exist who has already successfully navigated this challenge? Then open yourself to receiving impressions, insights, or memory fragments from that parallel self. Many find that solutions, strategies, or entirely new perspectives spontaneously arise, knowledge literally transferred across timeline boundaries. This awareness transforms how you relate to your own life story. Rather than perceiving your past as a fixed, unchangeable narrative, you begin to recognize it as a fluid, multi-dimensional landscape of possibilities, some of which have already manifested in parallel streams of your existence. The rigid boundaries of identity soften as you recognize yourself as a multidimensional being having simultaneous experiences across numerous reality streams. Your focus shifts from "Who am I?" to which version of my infinite self am I choosing to embody in this moment? What unexpected memory anomalies have you been experiencing recently? Have you noticed objects appearing in places you never put them, or conversations that others don't recall having? Share your experiences in the comments below. By bringing these phenomena into conscious awareness, we collectively strengthen our ability to navigate between timelines with intention rather than confusion. Remember, you're not losing your mind. You're gaining access to your multidimensional nature. The fourth synchronicity, heralding an imminent timeline jump, manifests through the intensification of dreams and spontaneous visions, experiences of extraordinary vividness that bleed into waking consciousness with unmistakable significance. What modern psychology has systematically downplayed is that these aren't merely subconscious processing, but actual perceptions of alternate timeline possibilities opening before you. When dreams suddenly become hyper-realistic, recurring, or feature consistent environments you've never physically visited, you're not simply dreaming, you're receiving transmissions from parallel versions of your existence. Ancient mystery schools across civilizations, from the dream temples of Greece where initiates received healing and prophecy, to the sophisticated dream yoga practices of Tibetan Buddhists, understood that dreams represent a dimensional gateway where timeline streams naturally converge. What they protected as their most sacred knowledge was that during certain cosmic alignments, these gateways widen dramatically, allowing conscious navigation between potential realities. We are currently living through such an alignment, which explains the dramatic increase in reports of prophetic dreams, lucid dreaming, and visionary experiences, even among those who've never previously experienced such phenomena. Imagine your dreaming mind as a quantum television capable of tuning into thousands of potential channels of experience. While normal dreaming might randomly sample various possibilities, during pre-jump periods, this quantum receiver becomes extraordinarily sensitized, consistently tuning into the specific timeline frequencies that represent your most likely imminent jumps. Like a traveler's preview of possible destinations, these vivid dreams and waking visions offer glimpses of the reality streams available to your consciousness, allowing you to preview potential timeline destinations before making your quantum leap. Begin documenting your dreams with unprecedented diligence during this period of intensification. Keep your dream journal by your bedside and record every detail immediately upon waking. Not just the content, but the emotional tone, the quality of light, the sense of time, and any unusual clarity or consistency in the environments you visit. Pay particular attention to recurring symbols, numbers, or landscapes, as these often represent stable coordinates in alternative timeline streams. Notice also any dream characters who seem to be aware they are interacting with you across dimensional boundaries. These timeline guides often appear during pre-jump periods to assist your transition. You can actively develop your ability to navigate these dream gateways through a practice called conscious timeline incubation. Before sleep, sit in meditation and clearly articulate the specific timeline experience you wish to explore. For example, tonight I will dream of the timeline where I have fully activated my highest creative potential. As you drift towards sleep, maintain this intention while visualizing yourself standing before multiple doorways, each representing a different potential reality stream. Allow yourself to be drawn toward the doorway that resonates most strongly with your specified intention. As you develop this practice, you'll discover that you can establish consistent access to specific timeline frequencies through your dream consciousness. The environments, characters, and situations that appear repeatedly become familiar territories, dimensional coordinates you can return to at will. Many find that they can actually initiate specific life changes by first experiencing them in the dream state, effectively using the dream realm as a bridge to transfer possibilities from parallel timelines into their current physical experience. This awareness transforms your relationship with the third of your life spent in sleep. Rather than viewing sleep as merely rest or unconscious processing, you recognize it as an active period of multi-dimensional exploration and timeline selection. The boundary between dreaming and waking reality becomes increasingly permeable as you learn to carry awareness back and forth between states. Dreams become not an escape from reality, but a means of consciously selecting which version of reality you wish to experience. By developing this dream consciousness, you're literally expanding your identity beyond the limitations of a single timeline stream. You begin to recognize yourself as a multidimensional navigator, a being who exists simultaneously across numerous reality streams while maintaining the freedom to direct your primary focus of awareness. This expanded identity is your birthright, the natural state of consciousness that awaits beyond the artificial constraints of single timeline perception. Join our community of conscious dreamers and timeline navigators by subscribing now and activating notifications. Each revelation we share builds upon the last, creating a comprehensive map of multidimensional existence. Like this video to strengthen the quantum resonance field that connects awakening minds across timeline streams. Share this knowledge with others whose dream lives have intensified recently. They are experiencing the same timeline convergence phenomenon and need this understanding to navigate it consciously. The fifth and perhaps most compelling synchronicity, signaling an imminent timeline jump, comes through electromagnetic anomalies. Unexplainable interactions with electronic devices and electrical systems that defy conventional understanding. What mainstream science dismisses as random malfunctions or coincidence is actually direct evidence of your energy field's vibrational frequency shifting to align with a new timeline resonance. When devices activate without being touched, lights flicker in response to your thoughts, or electronic communications contain inexplicable references to your private thoughts, you're witnessing the electromagnetic signature of timeline convergence. This phenomenon was understood by Nikola Tesla, whose most revolutionary discoveries about the relationship between consciousness and electromagnetic fields were systematically suppressed. Tesla discovered that human consciousness itself generates an electromagnetic field that can directly influence the material world when properly attuned. What remains hidden from conventional science is that during timeline shift periods, your personal electromagnetic signature undergoes a fundamental recalibration, causing you to temporarily exist in a quantum superposition between timeline frequencies, literally vibrating between different versions of reality. Imagine your consciousness as a tuning fork that has been struck and is now vibrating at multiple frequencies simultaneously. This multidimensional resonance creates interference patterns in the electromagnetic fields around you, patterns that electronic devices are particularly sensitive to detecting and responding to. Like quantum sensors registering your presence across multiple reality streams simultaneously, these devices reflect back to you the evidence of your expanded state of being. What appears as malfunction from a single timeline perspective is actually perfect functioning from a multi-dimensional understanding. The devices are accurately responding to your existence across multiple frequencies of reality. Begin documenting every unusual electromagnetic occurrence you experience. Note when devices turn on or off in your presence, when streetlights flicker as you pass beneath them, when communications technology delivers messages with uncanny timing or relevance. Pay particular attention to repeated patterns, specific types of devices that consistently respond to your presence, or particular emotional states that seem to trigger electronic anomalies. Many discover that strong emotional states or focused intention dramatically increases these electromagnetic synchronicities, revealing the direct connection between consciousness and electromagnetic phenomena. You can actively work with these electromagnetic synchronicities through a practice called conscious field resonance. Sit near an electronic device, a lamp, television, or mobile phone, and enter a meditative state. Focus your attention on the sensation of energy within and around your body, particularly in your chest and hands. Visualize this energy extending outward to interact with the device before you. Without physical contact, project the clear intention for the device to respond to your consciousness. Begin with small expectations, a flicker, a static change, a slight alteration in function, and gradually work toward more significant responses as your field strength develops. As you refine this practice, you'll discover that you can actually distinguish between different timeline frequencies through the quality of electromagnetic response they generate. Some potential timelines create harmonious, flowing interactions with technology, while others generate more erratic or disrupted patterns. By consciously choosing which electromagnetic signature you cultivate, you are literally selecting which timeline resonance you align with and ultimately jump into. Many find that deliberately practicing gratitude while engaging with technology creates the most coherent and positive electromagnetic signature, literally attuning your field to more evolved timeline possibilities. This awareness transforms your relationship with the technologically saturated world around you. Rather than perceiving electronic anomalies as random annoyances or meaningless glitches, you recognize them as meaningful communications, direct feedback about your multidimensional state of being. The technological environment becomes a mirror reflecting your own timeline navigation process, providing constant confirmation of your position within the quantum field of possibilities. What was once dismissed as superstition, the sensitive person who affects electronic devices, is revealed as the natural expression of consciousness interacting across dimensional boundaries. What electromagnetic anomalies have you been experiencing as you approach your timeline jump? Have electronic devices been behaving strangely in your presence? Are you finding messages appearing on your devices that speak directly to your unspoken thoughts? Share your experiences in the comments below. As we collectively document these phenomena, we create a body of evidence that validates our shared, multidimensional nature, evidence that can no longer be dismissed by those clinging to outdated, single-timeline models of reality. As we draw these revelations together, a profound truth emerges from the tapestry of synchronicities we've explored. These 5 phenomena, numerical patterns, meaningful encounters, memory anomalies, dream intensification, and electromagnetic disturbances, are not isolated occurrences but interconnected facets of a single transformational process. They represent the multidimensional nature of your consciousness beginning to awaken to itself, breaking free from the artificial constraints of linear, single-timeline perception that has limited human experience for millennia. What we're witnessing collectively is nothing less than the next evolutionary leap in human consciousness. Throughout history, humanity has experienced quantum jumps in awareness, from the development of language to the scientific revolution. But the current shift transcends all previous evolutions. We are moving from experiencing reality as passive observers locked into a single timeline to becoming conscious navigators of the quantum field of infinite possibilities. This isn't simply a new understanding about reality. It's a fundamental transformation in how we exist within reality. The ancient mystery schools of Egypt, Greece, and Tibet all prophesied this moment in human evolution. The Mayans weren't predicting the end of the world, but the end of a world, the collapse of single timeline perception and the birth of multi-dimensional consciousness. What they understood, as encoded in their intricate calendar systems, was that cosmic cycles would align to create a period of unprecedented timeline fluidity, a window where the veils between potential realities would thin dramatically, allowing for conscious navigation between them. This is why you're experiencing these synchronicities with increasing intensity. Your consciousness isn't malfunctioning, it's evolving, expanding beyond the artificial boundaries that have constrained your perception. Every numerical pattern that captures your attention, every meaningful encounter that seems orchestrated by unseen forces, every memory that conflicts with consensus reality, every vivid dream that feels more real than waking life, every unexplainable interaction with technology. These are all confirmations of your expanding multidimensional nature. The question is no longer whether timeline jumping is occurring, it's whether you will navigate this process consciously or unconsciously. Those who remain unaware of these dynamics still experience timeline shifts, but they move through them in a state of confusion and disorientation, often attributing their experiences to coincidence, memory failures, or even questioning their own sanity. The conscious timeline navigator, however, recognizes these phenomena as the natural expression of their multi-dimensional existence and uses them as feedback to guide their intentional selection of which reality stream to align with. This knowledge transforms not just your understanding, but your entire experience of existence. When you recognize reality as fluid rather than fixed, possibilities that seemed impossible within a single timeline model suddenly become available. Healing that defied medical explanation, relationships that transform overnight, creative breakthroughs that seem to arrive fully formed from elsewhere, and quantum leaps in personal development that compress years of growth into moments. These become not just possible, but natural expressions of conscious timeline navigation. The practical integration of this understanding begins with the simple practice of synchronicity awareness. Start documenting every unusual pattern, meaningful coincidence, memory anomaly, vivid dream, and electromagnetic disturbance you experience. Look for correlations between these phenomena. Do they tend to cluster together during certain periods? Do they increase in frequency around significant life decisions or transitions? As you build this documentation practice, you create a personalized map of your timeline jumping patterns, allowing you to recognize when you're approaching a major convergence point. Then move from passive observation to active navigation through the practice of resonance alignment. Before making any significant decision or at the beginning of each day, take a moment to clearly envision the timeline you wish to experience. Feel the emotional quality of this timeline. Imagine the synchronicities that would confirm your alignment with it, and most importantly, embody the state of being that characterizes this desired reality stream. As you maintain this practice consistently, you'll discover that your synchronistic experiences begin to organize themselves around your chosen timeline frequency, literally guiding you toward your consciously selected destination in the multiverse. This is the dawn of conscious creation, not merely altering your experience within a fixed reality, but selecting which version of reality you experience from the infinite array of possibilities. We are transitioning from being actors, reciting predetermined scripts, to becoming authors of our own multidimensional narratives. This profound shift represents not the end, but the true beginning of human potential, a return to the natural state of unlimited consciousness that is our birthright. If you've remained with me throughout this journey of revelation, it's because something within you recognizes these truths at a level beyond intellectual understanding. Your soul remembers what your mind was conditioned to forget, that you are not merely a physical being having occasional spiritual experiences, but a multidimensional consciousness having a temporary physical experience. The synchronicities you're experiencing are not happening to you but through you, expressions of your own expanded nature beginning to awaken to itself. Join our community of conscious timeline navigators by subscribing now and activating notifications. Like this video, if these revelations have expanded your understanding, and share it with others whose awakening you sense is imminent. The knowledge we've explored today is not meant to remain isolated, but to spread like a quantum field of awareness, connecting minds across the artificial boundaries of space, time, and separate identity. Together, we're creating a collectively navigated timeline of expanded consciousness, one where humanity remembers its true multidimensional nature and steps into the unlimited potential that awaits beyond the veil of single timeline perception. The timeline jump you're preparing for isn't just a personal shift, but part of a collective evolution, a quantum leap that transcends individual experience. As you integrate these understandings and navigate your jumps with increasing consciousness, you become a beacon for others, a living demonstration of the expanded possibilities that await as we collectively awaken to our true multidimensional nature. The journey continues beyond this moment. Look for our next revelation appearing on your screen soon, guiding you deeper into the infinite possibilities of conscious timeline navigation. Remember, the synchronicities you're experiencing aren't random anomalies, but cosmic signposts guiding you home to your true multidimensional self. The question is no longer whether you'll jump timelines, but which timeline you'll consciously choose.